Vomera says, you disagree. Your performance in a CV is not dependent on the skill of the enemy player, but on an automated system called AA. As long as you're able to eat the system, you will perform well in a CV regardless of the skill of the enemy player. There's a limit to how much you can group up. All right, we're going to do something real quick. And this is, you know, we're going to do something real quick. First off, people talk about AA, oh, it's this automated system. You don't control it. You don't have any control over what happens. You have nothing. All you do is you play and you pray. You pray to God that this is going to do something, that it's going to help you this time, that maybe it's going to matter this time, because it might just, please AA, please God, do something. So we're going to put in a Wooster that's armed. Probably both of these are armed. Are they both armed? Just to check. Armed, standing, they're not moving. We'll actually get rid of them. We'll have a single Wooster. We're going to come in here with some rocket planes off of the midway. Whatever. We got some Tiny Tims, sure. This is what a Wooster's going to do. If we eat flak, we're going to take a lot of damage from flak. If we don't eat flak, we're going to take the absolute continuous damage that we cannot avoid. Note, for this Wooster, they're not using priority sector. They're not using defensive fire. They're not using a ship upgrade in slot 6. They're not using commander upgrades that give plus 20% or plus 25% when priority sectoring, or adrenaline rush, which gives more. None of that is used on this bot. We're going to go in, we're going to strike the Wooster, and we're going to see what happens.
Action stations.
He might actually start shooting, which he does, so we get to see the Wooster, which is even better. So I can bow into the Wooster or something, assuming the ship understands what going forward and turning means. All right, Wooster opens up, got some flak. Took a little flak damage, we're coming in. All right, we took one flak puff, we got hurt a little bit, we come in, we shoot. We lost one and a half planes, and we took a fair amount of damage because of this. Are we gonna be able to go back in? We hadn't eaten the flak, maybe. We're gonna come back in, we're gonna shoot. Lose another plane, probably shoot with 2 here. We shoot with 2. So if we had successfully dodged all the flak, we come in, we strike twice, we end up doing 20, maybe a little over 20k to a Wooster that's not moving. But again, there's all the things that the Wooster doesn't have. Doesn't have defensive fire, doesn't use priority sector, doesn't fucking move because it's a bot. Now we're gonna add a second Wooster. Just one more ship. We're gonna do it again. So again, we can look at this like, well, it's RNG, it's out of my hands. I can't do anything. I can't make the AA work better. You picked a ship in port, and then you clicked the button to say, I want to play the game. You know what the AA is when you go in, you know what its range is, you know what its continuous damage is, you know how much flak it puts out, you know how much damage the flak does, you know if you upgraded it, you know if you commander spec'd it, you know if you priority sectored it in the game. There's all sorts of shit that you have in the port screen that you get to choose when you come out to do a thing. So we've doubled the Woosters here. Turn bow in so we shatter the shells. We're gonna strike Fletcher, I guess. Maybe we'll try to strike Fletcher twice. A is gonna start at 7 clicks. It's like it's delayed now, which is interesting. So you got an offset delay with the flak. We hit some, we take the shot, we hit. In this case, we hit a lot of flak. Let's try again, hopefully with bombers. We can do something else. First example, ate a bunch of flak. Nice. Flak timing off the first Wooster was different than the second Wooster, so we juked one flak into the next flak. Fucking great. But now we're coming in fairly even keel, so maybe they're both going to start throwing flak around the same time, which they do, so the flak's going to add together. It's going to be easier to place. We're inside 3.5, we juked flak. In order to get this drop, we lost 6 planes. One of them goes down. 6 planes for a single attack.
Problem solved, sir.
We go in there with 6 planes. We'll see if we actually get through it. I mean, we might have damaged some AA on the Wooster. Could be possible. Might go down soon. Might not even be able to get there in time. Because CVs are immune to fire, by the way. We find the gaps, we get through, but they got one last aiming wall. We ended up killing the CV. Did the player need manual AA, or sorry, the bot in this case, did the bot need manual AA to be able to do more damage? No. AA is math. Did the bot need to be able to maneuver? Did it need commander skills, upgrades, other shit? Did it need a whole new system of interaction so that it could shoot down planes? No. What did it need? It needed an AA buddy. Needed one other ship in rough proximity to it. And it completely changes the interaction of planes to surface ships. One AA buddy. One. Not 5. Not a lemming train. Not unreasonably boosted AA to stupidly what the fuck levels. One ship. And again, this does not use defensive fire. Doesn't use priority sector. Doesn't use upgrades, commander talents, nothing. One ship. Now granted, the Wooster is an AA ship. It's got good AA. Cool. If we picked a ship with shitty AA, maybe the math doesn't add up very well. That's going to be a problem. But again, you as a player picked your ship. You know what you have. You've got great guns, but you have shitty AA. You have great AA, but you got shitty this. Shitty health. There's going to be trade-offs, and you're going to need to use your team to be able to overcome that. But how can I use my team? My team are all mouth-breathing retards, and they're just, oh, they're terrible. I hate them. Oh, they're just, they sniff glue, and they're terrible. It's you just don't understand. You just don't understand. The team is just so terrible. Realistically, you got 3 caps. You got a bunch of people that spawn into the game. Where are they gonna go? Some of them are gonna go into the center and die. The higher you get, the more you play, the less likely this happens. So pretty much, they're either going to go over here, or they're going to go over here. You're going to have 5, 6 people on a flank. Now, some of them will be out further, some of them will be in closer. Pick one of them. That's all you got to do. But then there's stagnant gameplay. You can't move, you can't push, you can't maneuver, you can't surprise the enemy, you can't do anything. Bruh. If you got a person over here and you want to move forward, I need your support. Go over there, ping him. Dude, I'm moving up. Okay. And then you move forward. And they move forward too. This is not rocket science. You bolster your AA by your position on the map. But that doesn't make sense. Well, okay. Let's think of it this way. If you've got an island position that you can use, and this island position that you're using allows you to crossfire positions so they can't advance. What does this position do? It gives you an advantage. That's what it does. It gives you an advantage. So if you've got a teammate and you move over closer to the teammate so that you have AA, it gives you an advantage. Your position on the map changes the AA's math, which gives you an advantage. If you're going to listen to a razor who's going to tell you, I am able to penetrate 5 ships altogether and I'm going to be able to strike and destroy the target that I want. Bruh, you just saw what 2 Woosters did. That didn't use priority sector, didn't use commander talents, didn't use upgrades, didn't use anything. 2 Woosters shit on 6 bombers just for the privilege of going through. And I didn't even hit flak. If they actually used defensive fire and other shit, probably would have been 9 planes. Are you telling me that a razor could seriously, honest to God, tell you, planes don't matter? I can go in and I can strike something, lose 9 planes, and then I can go back in and strike 9, lose 9 planes, and go back in and strike and lose 9 planes, and I have more. You have you start the game with 30, so if you lose 9 planes 3 times, you've got 7 left. But it regens. Okay, cool. You regen 4 of them. Go back in, lose another 9 planes. Now what do? You're out. I mean, Jesus. It's just math. It's so basic. It's hard to express something that's so simple to people that should be able to innately understand something so simple. that it feels like it's a trick. It feels like, you know, there's got to be a gimmick or something I'm missing that they're just not getting this. I don't know. It's so weird, man. Cool, Sconce. Now try that with a Zao. Okay, Fomero. So maybe you missed this part of the conversation. So let's look at something. We're gonna look at the Wooster. Just for the fuck of it. We're gonna look at the Wooster, and we're gonna use port stats, which honestly they don't tell you a lot, but we're gonna look at this for representative purposes. What is the Wooster good at? It's a little better than, you know, it's 63 in terms of health. It's 58 in terms of artillery. It's 96 in terms of AA. 55 for maneuverability, 50 for concealment. Cool. So what does this tell me? It's got a little more than half on survivability. It probably has a decent amount of health. It's tier 10, makes sense. Artillery, well, it could be better. If we look at maybe the Vermont's got a shitload of survivability. Oh, it's got much better artillery on this stat. It's got great AA defense, almost like the Wooster, but God, the concealment is terrible. The maneuverability is also pretty bad. What does this tell you? Some ships have strengths, other ships have weaknesses. It's designed that way. They pulled power out of this and they put it into that. So if you're going to tell me, we'll try that with Zao's. So what you're telling me is look at a ship with weaker AA. I mean, do I really need to try it to know that the AA is going to be weaker? Okay, so let's look at a different thing. Let's look at a different example. We're going to go back to the paint thing. What does it mean? Yeah, what does it mean to have a team? We'll lowercase that so it's not the A team. What does it mean to have a team? We're going to use this in terms of very basic concepts. We're going to talk about World of Warcraft. Why? Because almost anybody that plays games has an idea of what the hell World of Warcraft is. So in World of Warcraft, you might have a healer, you might have a damage dealer, and you might have a tank. Go ahead and give it a nice wooden shield, whatever. There's the shield. Awesome. And when these three things are together, they can go into a situation, and the healer's going to heal the tank, and the tank's going to rely on the healer, and the damage dealer's going to kill the big bad guy. And they're going to succeed, and they're going to get cool shit for it. It's going to be amazing. Well, what happens when the tank fucks off in a random direction, and the healer doesn't come with? The tank dies. What happens if the healer fucks off in a random direction? The healer dies. What happens if the DPS fucks off in a random direction? The DPS dies. The only thing that makes them work is that they have strengths and weaknesses, and when they combine them into a unit, they overcome them and they make magic happen. That's being on a team. So if you're in a Zao and you have shitty AA, you might need to group up with something. But wait, I went into a random. I don't have the ability to I can't choose to have a partner with me that's going to make this work. Well, you do have the ability to division. But maybe you load in because you like your Zao and there's just nobody that can partner with you. There's no Venezia, there's no DD that can go wide with you, there's nothing. Well, congratulations, you're in a random battle and now you get to fucking figure it out. Nobody wants to load in with a tier 7 destroyer into a tier 9 game. Because that sucks. But guess what? Figure it out. Nobody wants to load in bottom tier, in a tier 4 carrier against a tier 7 AA, which I guess is a fail div. But guess what? Figure it out. That's part of playing the game. To sit here and go well, in this specific example, this is really extremely hard. Find a teammate or figure it out. Or die. That works too. Play a different one. Pick a different ship, play again.